All right, y'all, what's going on? It's Combo Breaker 99. I'm back with another quick video. All right, y'all, so I just got around to watching this new interview with Valentina Shevchenko, interview by James Lynch. And, she discussed a few different things in the interview. She talked about, her upcoming fight and, some of the different flyweights in the division. And this is probably going to be another video. But, she really broke it down on everybody in the division, that he asked her about. She was just giving her opinion and her thoughts on every fighter that he mentioned. And I got to say, I got to respect her opinion on the fighters she talked about. But that's another video. The question that he asked that I just want to talk about here is about Valentina Shevchenko possibly moving into boxing, possibly taking a boxing match after the big numbers and popularity that was really brought in by Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano, their fight, right? And, she basically was honest about, her outlook on boxing. She basically said that, boxing right now is like there's a huge gap, between WMMA and women's boxing. And then, like she said, too, there's not really much going on compared to what she's doing in the UFC. She said that there's only like a few, maybe one or two top names in boxing that people really care about, which is kind of true, and like she said that, with the UFC right now, they're riding high and they're number one, right? So, she really feels like that's not really something she wants to do, but possibly she could. She discussed like MMA and boxing overall, but then she kind of broke it down into WMMA and women's boxing, where the gap is really big, right? There's a gap that's just huge. A lot of people don't really even know, like, a lot of women's boxers, and it's not as competitive as WMMA. WMMA has been really fleshed out over the past few years, and it's been bringing in a lot more fans. But we talk about how there isn't much popularity with some of the ladies, and we do talk about how there's still like a lot of casual fans that don't respect WMMA, but WMMA still has a bigger fan base than women's boxing. I think we can all say that. I think they get more respect in the world of combat sports as well. But like she was saying with the UFC, overall they've been on a rise, and they've been getting more popular than boxing overall because, for one, for me, this is just my opinion. For one, it's because, the best are fighting the best, and they're active. Whereas boxing, over the past few years, we've been having everybody fight maybe once a year, twice a year. We've been getting a lot of diva mentality with these boxers, where there's always about, oh, I'm not fighting this person unless the money's right, this and that. And we already know that the majority of these champions, they make more than fighters in the UFC, right? So it's like, why are they really making us wait for a lot of these fights? Or why are they not taking that risk to fight the best fighters? Why are they not taking that risk to go ahead and sign on and make the best fight to really keep their fans, right? So in a way, Valentina Shevchenko is right. As a whole, like, the superstars are very, very scarce now in boxing. Back in the day, you used to have more, but people kind of shy away from it now because you don't have the best fighting the best, right? But as far as like what she discussed in women's boxing, she was like, oh, maybe for maybe one fight or two fights, but other than that, it's not really like a steady career that she could really delve into, not with the way the UFC is going. The challenges are there. Because this is what she said, like, talking about Katie Taylor. She said, Katie Taylor, she's been in boxing for a long time. She's fighting a lot. But female boxing is kind of like there's a huge gap between MMA and boxing. I mean, female boxing and MMA. So I consider, why should I step back in my career and do it? Okay, so she sees that as a step back. She said, I had so much experience in professional boxing and Olympic boxing, so I know what is that, and I know it's not a big problem to fight there. All right, so to her, it would kind of be a step back. Honestly, yeah, it would be, because she's already established herself here in the world of MMA. She's already known as a top level fighter, probably one of the best fighters today in MMA period, not just WMMA, but MMA period, right? But boxing would be kind of a step back to her. She was never like a big name in boxing, but, she did delve into the world of professional boxing early on, and she knows Olympic style boxing, right? Just like, her sister Valentina Shevchenko, they've been doing that. And, she's learned the fundamentals, but I think she's done the smart thing. Like, she knew that the world of women's boxing wasn't too big. So what did she do? She learned the sport, fell in love with it, has a love for boxing, And she did the next best thing by taking that boxing and adding it to an arsenal to go into the world of mixed martial arts, along with, her sambo, Muay Thai, jiu-jitsu, all of that, right? Because she knew that just the world of boxing alone doesn't really have a big fan base, for women. So I understand what she means, Yeah, like maybe if they offered her a big money fight or something like that, or if she renegotiated her contract with Dana White where she could fight Serrano or Taylor or something like that, I could see that being done. But as far as her just having like a career there after MMA or during MMA, it's not really worth the risk, right? Because there's not there's not much going on there, right? There's not much going on there for her to try to juggle two careers. I mean, for Clarissa Shields, you see her making her, even as a women's boxer, you see her trying to make her way into the world of MMA because she knows that the money is a little bit better there, right? That's why she went to PFL, because she had she has the opportunity still to get better at mixed martial arts, just keep working and keep working, even while she's doing her boxing career, and maybe possibly jump over to the PFL, whenever she's done with boxing, right? Because she's pretty much already cleaned out every division in boxing. So if she wants to at some point go to MMA permanently, even in the PFL, there's a possible career for her. Look at Kayla Harris. She's the highest paid WMMA fighter today over all these other ladies that are considered greats. She's already negotiated herself into one of the biggest contracts. So look at Kayla Harris. It may not be the most polished fighter, may not have the skills of Chris Cyborg or Valentina Shevchenko, but she's making more money than, these pound for pound greats in women's boxing like Clarissa or Katie Taylor or, even again like Valentina Shevchenko. So it would kind of be a step back for her. I see that. It definitely would be. Like for women, to go from MMA to boxing is a step back because there's not a lot of names there, besides Clarissa, Katie, Serrano, and now you just have these girls on the come up like Alicia Baumgartner, Michaela Mayer, and even Savannah Marshall now making a name for herself. Like, yeah, she's seen as a rival for Clarissa Shields, but other than that, I mean, nobody really knows her, outside of that. So you can count those on barely two hands, right? But in the world of WMMA, there's always like some type of name. And you go to Instagram, they have like high followers, from 300,000 to a million, right? So there's always a lane for Valentina wherever she wants to go in WMMA as far as divisions. She can go back to 135 and make good money and have good challenges, right? So yeah, man, I just kind of wanted to talk about that a little bit because, I'm somebody that's a big boxing fan, and I'm somebody that can honestly say that I love boxing all around, but the women's boxing world is very small, and it's smaller than the world of WMMA. At least WMMA has a good fan base, and you see my channel, we have more people talking about that than women's boxing today. Like even some of the mainstream boxing YouTube channels don't even break down women's boxing, right? I try to when I can, when there's good fights coming up or, somebody deserves to shine. I try to do that. But even then, it's really, really difficult to do that compared to WMMA. I mean, WMMA, there's a lot of women that are, doing their thing on the lower level to the mid level to the high level, right? And again, you see the proof because women's boxers are coming to WMMA to get more money. Serrano, Heather Hardy took her chance. She's retired from it now. And again, Clarissa. And even a couple of the ladies that Serrano fought, right? So, yeah, Valentina Shevchenko, would I want to see her in the boxing ring? Sure. I mean, like, if she wanted to do it like Holly Holm was talking about it, Holly Holm, she discussed the Katie Taylor fight. And she said that's a challenge that she would want to do, going back to boxing to see if she could win the championship again. And, I think, why not? Why not? At this point, I think somebody with her IQ, she could go back and make it work for her. Valentina, to me, I don't think she ever really fought on a high level as Holly Holm did in boxing. But, I think she could do it, because she's that dedicated to the sport. But maybe one or two fights, but I don't see her delving in and staying that long, But, yeah, guys, let me know in the comment section what y'all think. Do y'all watch women's boxing like that? Do y'all know any of the women's boxers? Like I said, I know the popular names. I know a few ladies on the underground, I talk to personally. And, I still know now But other than that, like, yeah, it doesn't compare to WMMA. Yeah, it just doesn't right now. So I don't really see any of the WMMA fighters going over and making like a big career in boxing. So she is right about that. Well, let me know, guys, what y'all think. Combo Breaker 99. I'm out. Subscribe. Peace.